Today I'm making chocolate chip scones. If you've never made scones before, hang out with me for just a few minutes today and I'll show you just how simple they really are. And I'll even show you a trick how you can make them one time and have fresh scones for days to come. Hi, my name's Laura and I invite you to make yourself at home while I make some chocolate chip scones. Here are our ingredients for our chocolate chip scones. We've got some flour, sugar, egg, butter, sourdough discard, but hang with me. If you don't use sourdough, I will give you the accommodations and walk you through what to do and what ingredients to use as an alternative. We've also got some heavy cream, vanilla, baking powder, salt, and of course our chocolate chips. So the first thing I'm going to do is take one stick of butter and I'm going to use the grater attachment on my food processor and get this butter grated. See how quickly that did that. I've got a little bit I'll have to deal with here, but that's okay. That saved me a ton of work. So if you don't have a food processor, you can cut this by hand or you can grate it with a cheese grater if you want to. I do love the food processor because it does it so quickly, and you do want to start with a cold stick of butter directly from the refrigerator and grate that or cut that as finely as possible. To this butter, I'm going to add my dry ingredients. I start with 2 cups plus 2 teaspoons of flour, or 250 grams, a half a cup, or 100 grams of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And once you get those in your bowl, you want to cut that in with a pastry cutter or with forks or knives. You could even do this by hand if you want to, but you need to get that butter cut into all of the dry ingredients till it looks like peas. Now that I've got my dry ingredients finished up, I'm going to move on to my wet ingredients, and I need a separate bowl for those. I'm going to start with 1 large egg, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of heavy cream, and a half a cup of sourdough starter discard, or 125 grams. Now, if you don't have sourdough discard, that's okay. All you need to do is add 1/4 cup of flour to your dry ingredients, 1/4 cup more than you already have, and 1/4 cup more of heavy whipping cream to your wet ingredients. And that will take care of the sourdough starter if you don't want or have that to put in it. You want to get all your wet ingredients whisked together, and then you want to pour those into your dry ingredients and begin to mix. You want to start to gently fold things together. You don't want to get too heavy-handed with this. You are working with a dough, but just gently start to stir. And it's right about here that I realized I've made a mistake. You may have realized it as well. I forgot to add the chocolate chips. Now, normally I would add these in at the end of the dry ingredients. I would just gently stir them into the flour and dry ingredient mixture. But I caught it before I was too deep into mixing everything together, thankfully. And everything was just fine. It all worked out. And I did get my 1 cup of chocolate chips added into these scones, which is good because they're kind of the star of the show in these scones. Now you're going to get to a stage where most of your liquid has been absorbed by the dry mixture, but it's still going to be just a little bit crumbly. Don't fear, this is actually normal, and I'll show you how we bring it all together. But if most of the liquid has been absorbed, it's at this point that you're ready to turn the dough out onto a clean counter surface. And I have cleaned my counter. Never fear, I don't show that to you here on camera. And I know that kind of bugs me sometimes when I don't see that. So maybe I should have put that in, but just know I have disinfected my counters thoroughly. And I turn my dough out onto it. And you see right there, there's still a decent amount of dry, crumbly mixture left. But all you're going to do is start to work your dough with your hands. What you want to do is just take your hands and fingertips and start to gently work the dough. As you do that, you want to pull in some of the dry, crumbly parts. As you see, I'll pick up a few and put them on top and work them in, or I'll turn the dough over on top of a little patch of them and press down and start to work them in. That should take care of it. Now, if you feel like you have a lot more dry crumbles left and they're not getting worked in, all you have to do is take your heavy whipping cream and just pour a little bit. I would start with a half a tablespoon to a tablespoon at the most. And you just pour that over the mixture and continue to work it in. And you can do that here on the counter, no problem. There's no need to put it back in a bowl for that. But just pour that directly over the dry part that you're having trouble mixing in and then work it in. Just continue to go through this process. So once your mixture begins to come together as one dough, then you want to begin to shape. Now, you'll see I don't put any flour down on my surface. I just use the same counter spot that I've been working the dough, and it will get a little stickier the more you work with it, but that's okay. You're still going to be able to work with it and do exactly what you need to do. So I'm going to actually show you two ways that I shape my dough for scones. I actually made a second batch of these off camera at the same time, and I'm going to show you each batch. I do prefer, even if I'm making two batches, I prefer to work with it one batch at a time, so I get it mixed up in two separate bowls. So this is the first batch, and you see I'm forming this into a disc or a round shape, and I'm then going to cut it into pie shape or pizza shaped scones. I like to press my dough out until it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. Now these will rise in the baking process, so they'll puff up some, but my preference is about a 3/4 inch thickness at this stage. And once I get it to that height, get it pressed out, I then begin to cut. And when I shape my dough into a circle, I generally cut it out into 8 even wedges or triangles, just as you would a piece of pie. I have a sheet pan over to the side lined with parchment paper. So as I get the scones cut, I'm going to lay them on this tray. And the reason is we're actually going to take it to the freezer in just a couple minutes after I get all of the scones cut. And I'm going to flash freeze the scones. This is actually how I like to store them, and I prefer to bake them from frozen. I have a family of 3. It's my husband, myself, and we have a 5-year-old daughter. So it's not like we're going to need or want many scones in any given morning. In fact, I typically bake 5, 2 for each of us adults and 1 for my daughter. So I like to make these in large batches. That's why I made this double batch. And I freeze them and then pull out exactly how many I want to bake. And the benefit to that is not only am I stocking my freezer, but when I do bake them, we're getting a fresh scone each time that I make it. Now, you see here with the second batch that I rolled it out into a different shape. I rolled it out more into a log style. And the reason I do that is it makes it a little bit easier to cut them into more scones. So sometimes I'll make a batch and actually try to get 10 or 12 smaller triangles out of it. And that's why I like the option of rolling it into a log instead of the disc like I did with the first batch. Okay, I'm going to take a walk out here to my deep freezer, and I'm going to set these in here for just a little while to flash freeze. Okay, I have my Ziploc bag ready. I have it labeled, telling me what it is, the temperature, and how long to bake. 400 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. And my scones have frozen, at least on the outside, so I'm going to get them loaded up in the bag and ready for my freezer. And I'm going to level with you, these scones are just not as good the second day. I've tried doing that. I've tried making extras and eating them the next day, and we're just not crazy about it. But nobody in the house complains when they wake up and see that I've baked a fresh scone. So this is just the method that I have come to use, and it works for us, and I think it works great. And I just wanted to share that with you for you to consider, because it's a great way to stock your freezer and have a delicious breakfast or treat any given day. Okay. And because they have been flash frozen, I don't even have to separate them with parchment paper or anything like that. I'm going to stick them in my freezer and we'll have several breakfasts out of these scones. So this is the next morning, and you saw the first thing I did when I woke up is I got my oven preheated to 400 degrees, and then I went and got my scones out of the freezer, and I pulled 5 scones out and placed them directly on my pan. I prefer to bake them with parchment just to make the cleanup easier and they don't stick. Now, the final step that I like to take before baking these scones is I brush a little bit of whipping cream on top of each one. I just take a pastry brush and lightly coat the top. And you see, these are frozen, and because of that, it immediately freezes to the top and kind of gives the illusion of icing. But as soon as they hit the warm oven, it's going to begin to melt. Now, this step is not absolutely essential. If you don't have whipping cream, it's okay. You can bake these scones and they will turn out fine. But the reason I like to do this is because it keeps the tops very moist. They don't brown too much. They cook very evenly. Really, it's just a little bit extra insurance in the baking process, and it's not going to hurt anything to have a little extra cream on each scone. So once my oven finished preheating, I get these placed in the middle rack of the oven, and I bake these at 400 degrees for exactly 19 minutes. I set my timer for 20, went to check on them, and thought they looked perfect at 19 minutes. So I took them out, and we had these gorgeous, delicious scones for breakfast this morning. I really hope you'll give these a try. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to my page. I'd love to have you here. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and thanks again for watching.